For the past year, Twin Cities PBS has highlighted the challenges and successes of educating urban youth. It's part of the nationwide American Graduate Project. It's been a tough year in education as districts around the country struggle with achievement and belief gaps. Today, a large group of leaders met in Minneapolis for the 7th annual State of Minnesota Leaders Luncheon on Education. The event was sponsored by the UNCF, the nation's largest minority education organization. It funds historic black colleges and the students who attend them. Michael Lomax is the head of UNCF. Always nice to have you here. Thank you. Welcome to the program. He's joined by Ashley Booker. She's a graduate both of Oakwood University in Alabama and of the University of Minnesota. Mr. Lomax, I know you spoke today, and you know this, for years and years we've been talking about the achievement gap and what to do. Mm-hmm. Did you hear anything today that gave you some hope, that something interesting, something new?
Well, there are always inspirational stories that counter the narrative that, you know, there's this gap and it's growing wider and it's impossible to close. Ashley is a wonderful example of an individual student who has dreamed big dreams of education and achieved, and she's now giving back. One piece of very good news from our luncheon was a $700,000 scholarship commitment by U.S. Bank to help 105 youngsters right here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul community, kids who are described as often left on the field. Now, this young lady graduated from high school with a 3.6 GPA, and the kids who are left on the field often don't make it to 3.0. But, you know, I think there's extraordinary talent and opportunity there if we will only invest in them. And so I think you're about to get some good news about high school performance. We heard that. It was sort of leaked a little bit by your lieutenant governor, and then somebody said you're not supposed to say that yet.
Okay, good to know.
But I think there's some good educational news getting ready to come out. But what I would say is this is a journey. It is not going to turn around overnight, and you know we've got to stay the course. And we know that the Minneapolis and St. Paul schools can produce good graduates, but the problem is that kids of color are too often left behind.
Ashley, in your case,
yes, sir.
Why did you decide to go to a historic black college?
That's a good question. Like I mentioned at the luncheon, when I was about 6, I remember my mom always talking to me about going to college and just instilling that piece in my life. And then when I was in 2nd grade, my teacher told me, like, you can go to college. So I was growing up watching A Different World, and Drumline is a movie, and it was about young people going to historically black colleges, and I knew immediately that I wanted to be there. I wanted to be somewhere where I could physically see myself and my professors and my administration and my peers and kind of internalize their greatness.
You're obviously a self-starter and an achiever and motivated.
Thank you.
How do you get, this would be regardless of race, how do you get kids that aren't that interested in education? How do you make it cool? How do you make it relevant? How do you make it hip? So they take advantages of the opportunities that you've had.
I think having more teachers and administrations in the schools that look like them. I work for the Burnsville Egan Savage School District as a school social worker. And I am one of 4 or 5 people of color in the school where we have about between 30 or close to 50% of kids of color there. And they don't see themselves in, you know, the math teachers or the science teachers or the, you know, just, they don't see themselves there. And I feel like if we could invest more in having people of color in the school system, then I think more kids will be like, oh, this is nice. This is where we can be. I'm comfortable. I'm safe being here.
And let me just say, you know, black women are among the most ardent pursuers of education in this nation as a demographic. Ashley is not unusual. At historically black colleges, women outnumber males 2 to 1. Bad, and I mean, great. The women are doing great.
Why is that? Why is that?
Well, I think between the civil rights movement and the women's movement, black women feel empowered. I think there's a real challenge right now among African American males, and that's why one of the things that we're doing at UNCF is working with partners to encourage more young black men to go into teaching. I spent my entire career in the classroom, you know, and But, you know, I went to Los Angeles public schools. I never had a black male I had one black male teacher the entire, from kindergarten through the 11th grade. And, you know, my first time seeing black males in the classroom was at Morehouse College. It made a difference. And, you know, made such an impression. I said, I'm going to be a college professor. I'm going to be a college president. I'm going to do what I saw those men doing.
Can I get back to the achievement gap? Because, of course, that's what we long talk about here, obviously. Yeah, is it showing up on campuses?
Absolutely. You know, and so, you know, I'm a firm believer in Common Core, higher standards, rigorous academics, K through 12, because what we're seeing on the college campuses, both for certainly most acutely for African Americans, only 10% of African American high school graduates in the nation, less than 10%, graduate college ready. That means that they're prepared to take a 4-credit course, math, science, reading, English. 90% of the kids we're graduating are going to be in remediation. And that just means that they're going to be paying for the high school courses in college that they didn't get, you know, and Ashley didn't have to do that. She graduated in 4 years. Remember when people used to do that?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, now if they don't graduate, or they graduate in 6.
Were the course offerings similar at the U as they were to your historically black college, Oakwood?
I'm sorry, what do you?
Was the course offerings similar at the two institutions, or?
Well, when I went to undergrad, I mean, I got my degree in psychology. When I went to get my master's degree, it's kind of different. I mean, because I already gotten my general education classes taken care of, so the classes were different. I haven't really seen what the University of Minnesota has for undergrad.
Well, I'm going to just say something about that. She graduated from the public schools of Minneapolis, St. Paul, with a 3.6. She graduated from Oakwood with a 3.8. She went in 4 years, and she went immediately to the University of Minnesota. She was prepared.
Yeah.
I went to Morehouse College. I graduated at the top of my class. I went to Columbia University, and I graduated at the top of my class. When we prepare students, the challenge is that we get so many students who aren't as prepared as Ashley was. And so, you know, what we want to find is first-generation, low-income kids who will find a nurturing, supportive environment at a black college, but also get rigorous academics, but we want them to be prepared.
Sure. Wish we had more time.
I know,
fantastic.
really. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your work, and you're an inspiration.
Yes, thank you.